Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's another day in the Pirate Broadcast, and thank you so much for being here. I love and appreciate the fact that if you could and would like, comment, and share on this content so we can actually get it out there and share it with more people and increase the pirate community. I know I love to bring interesting people doing interesting things, and today we have Peter in the room. Peter and I have been talking about several things, and I know it's going to be a fascinating episode, and we're going to dive into creativity, positivity, and some of the things that make the world work. Peter, good morning. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, Russ. I'm doing wonderful. Blessed to be here. And just to let you know, this is the very first podcast I'm doing. So I get to be
fantastic. So I love the fact that we had an opportunity to connect. We have mutual friends out there that are also pirates, by the way. Erica, you know who you are. And I just love the fact that we can actually connect and have a conversation. And let's first off, you recently joined an interesting, very dynamic company that's doing some amazing things with in the sales process. And I want to talk about that because it's fascinating to me how business process can actually reflect and relate to real life and the rest of the things we're doing. So talk about the company and what the goal of the company actually is all about.
Okay, so just in a very summarized fashion, Incentics is a cloud-based application that handles all of your sales and your purchasing incentives. And whether that be commissions, rebates, you have buying group rebates, you have end user rebates, paybacks, chargebacks, and royalties. So we handle all that from creation of the agreements to the accruals, to the settlements, to the payout, to the payouts. All of that's in one place. And the problem that we're solving is we're able to handle this in real time for all our clients. And we do that through integration. So whether those companies are using Oracle, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, Sage, Infor, Acumatica, Workday, QuickBooks, we integrate these systems out of the box for you. And that's just a core part of what we do. And so we knew this and we built it into our platform. So right from the get-go, since constantly importing and exporting data can be a mess, for a lot of companies, it's a disaster. So it needs to be set up in a way that's automated by integrating those applications together. And that's what we've done here at Incentics.
So I know a lot of those sound like big systems and big organizations and enterprise class stuff. So is it also available for the smaller solopreneur, freelancer, somebody that maybe has a couple of programs, maybe because there's many people that are developing courses, putting out information that is really valuable. And it would be nice to be able to have a system that I could place in there that if I have partners that want to promote it, or I have counterparts that I need to pay out in order to accomplish part of their goal. How big or how small can this thing, be inserted into an organization?
So one of the things that I like to say about Incentics, it's not a one size fits all. It's customizable to all size companies. So whether you're a solopreneur or you're a huge company like Oracle in and of itself, or a conglomerate, for instance, this can benefit anybody. So, and it can really, so for the solution is geared to C-levels, to directors and managers, and to the inside and outside salespeople, whether their commissions are across the board. So, and how we do that, let's say, for instance, for the C-levels, the things that they get out of this would be the real-time data, accessible data that shows them their earnings, financial liabilities, cash flow forecasting. For the directors themselves, these are the individuals who get to create and analyze the incentives in real time. And so then they're actually able to even focus more on boosting the key performance indicators for their reps. So they get to look to lead. They get to do what they're paid for and that what they're passionate about. And then for the sales reps, you create a lot of accountability between the company itself and the reps themselves. A lot of reps, they're let's say for instance, they want to know what's coming in, right? And some commissions don't get paid on some commissions. Some of those are postponed or some of them don't go through. And so this creates that accountability, a transparent view of their earnings and their payouts.
You know, it's funny because you bring up a good point that I hadn't thought about, and I want to make sure that people realize this, is that even the sales teams have an opportunity to have increased visibility into what their pipeline is coming in.
Exactly.
There's some receivables out there that aren't hitting, and the commissions aren't going to get and they aren't going to land. You, as a salesperson, somebody in the account management team, you want to know that is going to take place, so you have visibility on that as well. Is that what I hear you say?
That is correct. And just to kind of put a nail in the coffin there, I worked many different types of sales jobs in the past, where I was in recruitment, where I was dealing with new home sales in real estate, and where I was a broker for logistics. And in every single one of those, as a salesperson, I had to manage every single account, and bringing on a new customer was adding more time to my plate because I was having to jump back and forth through all these different softwares. So Syntex becomes the missing link that gets all these pieces of software to talk to one another so that you can focus more on the prospecting and the closing side of things. And while you're doing that, you're keeping track of those numbers that are coming in. So it's just streamlined.
Yeah, that's pretty slick, and so it's really great. And I wanted to bring that out to the point, so we could share that with the community, because there's a lot of people out there that they need to know, need to have visibility in what's taking place in their organization. The other thing that I thought is interesting, you're in sales. Only your background, your education is in engineering. So how did that bridge take place? I'm kind of curious as to how did that evolve, and what prompted you to go into sales versus engineering right now?
That's a great question. I get that asked a lot. And so one of the things that I focused on in school was where my strengths were at. And that happened to be in mathematics and in the sciences. And I've always had a passion to be in the medical side of things. But I didn't realize there was a hidden passion as well. And I was being able to deliver systems to people that makes life a whole lot easier. And whether, in the medical realm, I was going to be helping an individual or a group or a whole hospital community. I could do that by being able to provide these systems. And so sales became a huge passion for me right out of the gate once I graduated. I was kind of raised in a family where everybody, all the clients, all the family friends were entrepreneurs. And so I saw that, and I was like the only one who was doing mathematics and getting into these deep equations. And I wanted what they had. So and that slowly began to, develop, and, the passion to run a company kind of materialized in that sense. And so I had to kind of step back and see the trajectory as needed to open up a company. And so the first thing that comes to place is going to be sales. Sales, vision.
Even an engineering organization has sales. I always say this, and I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, Peter, but if you pull a thread in somebody's conversation long enough, you'll always find common goals, common ideas, something will connect.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that I've already heard you say, that I used to build infrastructure for surgical centers.
Wow.
So all of these doctors would get together and build a surgical center.
Okay.
And so I was part of a team that would develop all of their, their EMR systems, the systems, the data, collection of all of their images, their imaging systems, their telecommunications, their networks, their, all of those systems. So we have a common thread in building systems and deliver systems. So it's pretty interesting. I find that fascinating, just something as a sidebar there. So it's kind of funny. So.
Well, I find that interesting too. EHRs was something that I had huge interest in. One of my clients in the new homes, she ended up purchasing a new home right before I got hired, but I was able to show that home, and she was in the medical side of things, and she was a CMO. And so she was talking about ways to get into the healthcare industry and being able to provide solutions, IT services wise. And that would be, EHR transitioning, because there's so many systems out there, they're not communicating with each other.
Yeah.
So
it's really fascinating from the systems side in the medical industry. There's a lot of opportunity out there to help people improve their systems. Yeah. And what you'll find, or at least what I discovered, was the doctors are in two camps. They want to keep their pencil, and they don't want to see a pencil. It's like, give me my pad and I'm okay. Give me all my information in a tablet and I'm good. A computer, I want a computer. And then there's other people that don't want to deal with computers. And then transcription services is a whole nother arena that gets a lot of attention in the medical industry. Yeah. I want to shift though. Rick Henderson has said, is it compatible with Salesforce? Your offer in your company?
It is. So our system itself comes with its own CRM, but you can actually transition all the materials from Salesforce through and get all your different softwares to communicate with one another. So whether you want to still use Salesforce, you can, or you can transition onto our Incentex platform, which also provides that CRM for you. Good
question, Rick.
Yes, great question.
Rick's an awesome individual here in Phoenix, and I just want to give a shout out to some of these people. Bill Griggs, CNC machining. He does a podcast on CNC machining. He's a former police officer, actually, on the East Coast, and he plays the trumpet too. So,
awesome
individual. He has a podcast. He's been podcasting for a number of years. I met him at Podcast Movement, actually. Erica is in the house. Angie's in the house. I see that Ira Bowman arrived. Fantastic.
Nice.
Dave Munford, thank you so much. In from Switzerland, Hi. How are you? I love the fact that there are people here from all over, and I just want to make sure that Sherry Lawley. I have not seen Sherry Lawley. How have you been, Sherry? Thank you so much for being here. I love it when I see you, Mr. Arcott. Glad to have you there. And Joseph is in the house. Peter Hammer in the house. Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Batman. So it's really fascinating. The other thing about systems, though, and I want to pull this thread and talk about it a little deeper, because the one thing about the threads in our lives, we're both drummers.
Yeah.
We're both musicians. And so I'm wondering if drummers and systems have any correlation.
I think they do.
So because it's very mathematical.
It is, yeah.
And so talk about that. Expand on that idea.
You create the structure for the music.
Yeah.
Right.
So now taking it a step further, being in engineering, you and I both enjoy a product called Ableton. And for those that aren't familiar with Ableton, maybe you could give a brief explanation of what it is, and then we can talk about that a little bit. So
the best way I can explain Ableton is it's just a piece of hardware that has all these pads on it. You can loop generate through it. You have all these kits that you can use. So instead of having an acoustical, system, you can bring this piece of hardware everywhere you go, and you can just create the music that you want. And you can even record like exterior noises, like, for instance, the birds chirping outside, or catch the wind, and you can change the frequencies to make it sound the way you want it. So it's just an amazing piece of hardware that allows you to create and dive into that creativity of music.
Yeah,
something that's authentic.
I really enjoy the creative process. You know, I played professionally, and then when I fell and shattered my arm, and you know, had to adjust my my life plan.
Mm-hmm.
I went down the path of electronic music, and I played electronic music, and I actually did some commercials and audio work and film, and all of these things are so creative, and we have an opportunity to do all of this stuff. And you know, with your engineering background, I mean, it's like it's endless. It's like going back to those planting those seeds and those ideas that it's like, oh, we were talking before the show about Elon Musk's the Hyperloop and some of the technology behind that. And so are you going to continue to play and expand in music and use that as a kind of a release to the competitive nature of sales and business? Because I kind of like see that as a hobby, you know, it's like back and forth.
Well, you know, the thing about sales is it is a hobby. It is competitive, and I like that side of it. But I see it like playing a sport. You know, it's like hitting a tennis ball back and forth. How long can you keep that tennis ball moving back and forth? How long can you keep that rhythm moving? So you start seeing sales differently, especially if you're transitioning from a very analytical background. And so with regards to playing, you know, further playing, every now and then I just get this itch, and I have to pull out the Ableton, you know, and just start creating something. If it could take me 5 minutes, it could take me up to 5 hours, but I'm sitting there and I feel like I'm only spending 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah. That's when you find some joy in your day. It's like, okay, I get the opportunity to create something, and 5 minutes, 5 hours can feel like 5 minutes really quickly. So fantastic. So I'm kind of curious. Does anybody else, Peter? I saw that Ira had. He's a percussionist as well. I know there's a lot of people out there in LinkedIn that are musicians. It's like I've seen some of these collaborations on LinkedIn or, you know, online in the social medias now that we're all, you know, hunkered down in our homes. And it's the thing about electronic music that I enjoy and appreciate is the fact that you can take files and, you know, I used to be big into Pro Tools, which is, you know, some engineering audio work when I was in radio, but that whole process is evolving, and it's a much more accessible to so many people that they can actually create their own music and create their environment. So I just think it's fascinating, and I get excited when I talk about it. So it's obviously a passion.
Yeah, I can see that. Hey, it's a passion for me. And what's interesting, I didn't even know Ira was a percussionist too. So, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting more. We're creating that new one.
Wendy, yes, written lyrics, that does count. Absolutely does count.
Yeah.
So
I have trouble doing that. I can. When it comes to lyrics, I let other people focus on that. I create the mood, the music around that. Yeah.
So Ira Bowman, I'll do a flam jam and I'll lay over some hack clarinet.
Oh my
God. Debbie Weems is in the house. Hey, interesting topic. 8 years piano lessons, a long time ago, but always a huge advocate of live music.
Hey, piano was what got me started into music from the get-go.
Yeah. I attempted to play guitar as well, and I always had a desire to play the saxophone. And for some reason, my fingers, even now, you know, as long as I've been on the computer, I still am not a touch typist. I'm still not a, you know, keyboardist that can actually, you know, look away and keep typing. And I just could not seem to get my fingers to operate in coordination with my brain. And it's like, okay, I'll be a drummer. I could do that. So
Well, my issue with piano was I have very small hands, so I couldn't get to the
oh
content
yeah,
very
yeah.
easily. So I would have to like get off the thumb and then jump over and kind of catch
And
both at the same
I
time.
would lose my place. I would lose my place. So we should start we start our pirate band, Russ. I would love that. I would love that. So, the Renaissance man, yeah, wrote lyrics. He's so let's get back to engineering, because I know that there's a tie-in with music, and there's a tie-in with things that are taking place around the world. And as the internet becomes more predominant in our lives, which it's really, and you have a phone, there's a lot of things that we can actually create and evolve. And have you seen anything? Like I'm a huge fan of Dub. Hat tip to Ruben and the team over there. I'm a huge fan of Dub, and it allows you to create a quick video
Mhm.
and shoot it out. And for a salesperson or a sales team, it's an amazing, it's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
And outreach. And I know Erica, I've seen her, she uses Loom. Loom is another powerful tool.
Yeah.
So are you utilizing video in your sales process now, or are you starting to think about that? Or
Yeah. In my outreach, actually, Erica introduced me to Loom. So I've been working on that, and I really enjoy it. And the reason why I enjoy it is because when we're sitting at home and jobs have transitioned to remote, you want to be able to see somebody's face.
yeah,
And it was tough for me just from the previous job being a broker to to communicate in an authentic way when most of that comes from body language and
yeah,
facial expressions. And so when you get on the phone, everybody knows what you're getting on the phone for. So it makes it a little tougher to do, outreach that way. So
yeah,
when you do a video that's cold call, you see the person and you see their energy, and that's contagious, and that's what you want. And so
yeah.
that's been very effective in what I've been doing. So, and Erica's a great teacher at that. So
Yeah, she's amazing. Is anyone else? I want to ask the question. Angie took 10 years in piano too. So
yay.
fantastic, fantastic. I am known to tickle the ivories once in a blue moon. My favorite dance piece I choreographed, I had live music on stage. That's fantastic. That's amazing. So, is anyone else out there in the community or online right now, or if you're watching the replay, drop it in the messages. But I'm curious, is video in your sales process, are you using video or are you not using video? And if so, what kind of tools are you utilizing for that? Because like I said, I'm a fan of Dub. I also use Loom. I've used Loom for years. And I just love the idea of turning the camera on and shouting out a message. And then, the response you get is incredible.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully you found that same experience. So it's amazing what kind of response you can get from that.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to build that intrigue. And one of the things that a lot of people, a lot of the responses, for instance, it's like, how did you do this? Because a lot of people aren't aware of it yet, which is, stay ahead of the game.
It surprises me because it's been so prevalent in my life for like 5 years. And it's like, okay, I'm used to it. And maybe, working in the bubble, I guess, is what it's called. So yeah. Joseph says, Loom, ScreenFlow, gift maker. He's a pro at it. So he's using video in his process. Angie says video is super important right now. Kathy Spooner, thank you so much for connecting. I appreciate you and your comments. Love it here. Good morning. Thank you so much. Joseph says, I owe it to all the Ira Bowman, Eric Warfield. So thank you so much for being here. So, Peter, you haven't been at this organization for very long. So how can we help you and help you grow and expand your network around the interwebs as it relates to your business? And who's a good introduction for you?
That's an interesting question. Should have, it's interesting because everybody in this who is dealing with sales
Uh-huh.
and being able to eliminate a lot of the tedious manual inputting of data, or whether they're dealing with multiple softwares, with in Syntax being that missing link that connects and makes all of your softwares communicate with one another, anybody is a perfect candidate and would benefit from the Syntax platform. So with the jobs that I had before, which were interesting, so I was in physician staffing, I was in new home sales, and then I was a broker in logistics. And in every single one of those jobs, I was managing an account. And I would take on a new account. It was more work, and I would have to get around the time management of that. And this helps build and create more time for you to do that and to focus more on the prospecting side and the closing. So the systems work all the rest of the steps in between. So I want to be able to talk to more people, right? And that's the point of building relationships as a salesperson. And
well,
so
that's what Ira says. Keep building your network. I just hit 150,000 followers early this morning. LinkedIn will only allow you to get to 30,000 connections.
Oh, okay.
And so, however, you can grow your followers as much as you want. And so as you publish and produce content on LinkedIn, you can continue to grow and expand your follower network, which will get a portion of those people and those individuals get notified when you produce content as well, as I recall. I mean, not all of them. It doesn't go out to 150,000 users. However, it does go out to a larger percentage if your number is bigger. So,
yeah.
But so Peter, what's your secret name?
My secret name?
Yeah.
So so my adopted name is Peter Hammer. I was adopted from Costa Rica. I came here when I was 8 years old, and recently reconnected and reconciled. And I'm discovering the family of origin. And the name that I was given, the legal name, was Pedro Luis Reyes Varela, and that's my mother's name. And I found out recently that the man that she was married to, who happened to be my father, they didn't have a record of that because he wasn't present when I was born. So my real name is Pedro Luis Castillo Reyes. And I found that right at 28 and a half years old.
Oh,
and
wow.
To know that, and the history behind it, I'm learning so much about what happened, and all the circumstances that she went through, that's just makes her an amazing person. And so, yeah, that's the main focus right now is reconciling. I get to talk to long lost siblings as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What an amazing journey. So congratulations for being able to connect like that and reconnect after a long absence of family like that. So
yeah,
that's fantastic. That's incredible. And I just really have to applaud you for being, your first podcast, your first broadcast, live streaming here, and taking the initiative to be here, because we've been kind of connected but not a lot of time together. And I just thought, it's like it'd be really nice to highlight and share a little bit about what you're doing and your goal and your mission. And I grew up in commercial construction. My mother was a broker, real estate broker, and so it's like another parallel there, just to throw it out there. And it's just like, we all have connections. If we have a conversation long enough, there's a connection we can find and discover. So don't lose hope. Don't lose vision in what you can accomplish if you apply it and take the time to do it. So,
yeah. Well, one of the things that I've realized, right, is that you're born into this huge world, and you start realizing that it gets smaller and smaller as you start developing these relationships.
Yeah.
And even though people are like across, from Switzerland, or you got Australia, the world keeps being smaller and smaller with your relationships.
Yeah. Followers so here's the answer. Followers get notifications as the algorithm sees fit. But if they don't engage that, and then their connections don't have an opportunity to see or engage with my posts.
Okay.
So they have to be engaged connections in order for you to expand your visibility across the network. So I have to go fight crime content, Peter, today. Thanks for the insight in the video today, Russ.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you and all you do. Thank you so much. Look at the smile. Peter's a star in the making. Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. And so if you want to leave one thing with the world today, Peter, what would it be?
You know, life has so many circumstances that it throws at you. You're climbing this mountain. Keep your sights on the summit. You'll always see more from that perspective, from that advantage. And whenever you do get caught in an avalanche, just know it's not going to break you. You have the will. I think somebody said, I can't remember who it was that we were talking about this.
Yeah.
We have the potential to balance out what an atomic bomb could destroy, right? We can actually build what an atomic bomb can destroy throughout our lifetime. So how many atomic bombs can we cancel out?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I would say, kind of push and create some motivation. So
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. And as everybody knows, you know, it's really it's an opportunity to share something positive, and we all need something positive in our lives, and you know, keep moving forward because kindness is cool. Smiles are free.
Yeah.
And I want you to enjoy the day. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.